All ready? Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, and tonight's video is on group riding. So here we are behind a group of 3 bikes. In front I make the 4th. In our group we ride usually 4, on average about 7. We've done about probably I think 15 as our max going out. And group riding is the most dangerous form of motorcycle riding you can have. And why that is not because of the cars. The biggest danger you've now got are those lads in front of you. Bikes are so quick at accelerating and decelerating, as we all know riding them. So let's just say Liam here, the nearest bike to me, he decides he's going to start playing about with his I don't know, his anti-wheelie or whatever on the bike, and he just switches off for a bit. I do the same here. Before you know it, I'm like accelerating up and catching up with him if you're riding at this sort of distance. Now we're being quite good here by staggered formation, and what that is basically if Liam here on the right braked, I've got an escape route on my left. But now we're entering into single file here. I'm riding too close to Liam. The GoPro's not going to show it up too well, but I am riding too close to him. If he's hit his brake, I'll show you, there's nothing behind me. If I just show you here, look how quickly he goes in front, just for me tapping the brake there. That wasn't an emergency stop, it wasn't a hard braking, that was literally just tapping the brake, and he goes flying out in front. So if he does that and I'm behind him and I'm not paying full attention, you can very quickly have an accident. So when group riding, you want to keep at least a car's length back, or 2 cars length preferably when you're pushing on. You do want to ride staggered formation if you can, especially when you're getting a bit bored on roads like this. And you've got to be extra careful of the guys in front of you. There are hand signals that you can learn, but why learn them when you can go get comms? And comms is definitely what you want. You can get the 2 big boys, the Senna or Cardo. In the UK, Senna's normally the king. So Senna is what we all have. And when you're on Senna, don't mess about, or Cardo, don't mess around, just get mesh. Always get mesh comms. The reason being, you're not going to have to Bluetooth to each other, you're not going to have to ride in formation, you just press one button, it goes onto mesh, it sorts all of it out for you with regards to healing the mesh if you get in different formations, if you swap positions, if you break connection and you reconnect. The Senna or the Cardo mesh sorts all that out for you. So just go mesh, don't mess around, and your life will be so much easier. Why are comms good on a group ride? Well, here now we could be chatting away like we're lads down the pub, just having a laugh, and it's brilliant. It completely changed my riding. Going out now with the lads is more to have an actual catch up than the ride, you know, chatting about what we are, and then we hit a nice bit of road, so we go boot it on that road, comms go quiet, and then you're back to chatting about what you did over the weekend. The other great thing about comms is obviously I could be here going, watch out boys, the car behind me is tailgating, or I could be speed camera up ahead, gravel in the road, all of that stuff we can be talking about on comms. There's a hazard there, what have you. And the other thing is, you also get the other thing where you're riding and all of a sudden you hear a oh shit, or ooh, and automatically you will let off your accelerator because you know something's happened up front, and someone will be like, oh man, that turning was a bit tighter than I thought, or oh man, the potholes in the road there. And that kind of information is just so good to have. So when riding in a group, I strongly recommend getting comms. Also is where it helps you on stuff like here. You could be like, oh man, we need to turn left. You're not quick enough to get on the indicator. It just translates straight away through. It's so much better to have that live information, as well as the camaraderie and the laugh. So what you need to watch for on the bike, like I say, is the hazard of us being the riders, especially us vloggers and YouTubers. We're the worst, because up here now I'm looking at Liam in front and thinking I can duck down the left and get a nice little video of him here and come in close. And that's something that if you're on comms you can translate that through and say on your right, but you can't do that if you're not on comms, and it makes a bit more hazardous riding. So here we've got up front Gareth, who's an experienced rider in that he's been riding for a couple of years. He's ridden in our group for a long time. Then we have Lee. Now Lee's a new rider, been riding under a year, and he's new to our group. So again, he's a bit of a unknown quantity in the group. And then we've got Liam, again new to the group, but he's been riding forever, and he's also a commuter, so he's got vast amount of experience. These are things that are good to know when you're riding in a group. And one thing I nearly forgot is the hardest thing when group riding, and this was the hardest thing for me, is don't look at the rider in front of you. Now this is something you are really going to want to do, and something that is so hard not to do. My eyes, my vision has just dropped. If I was on my own, my vision would be right up there into that corner up there. I'll be looking at the apex, I'll be looking, is it vanishing, is it going further away? I'd also be positioning myself more like the police rider on the outside coming through. But when you're riding in a group, your vision drops to your group. I'm darting between Gareth at the front and Liam here in front of me. Now when you are pushing on and you start going single file and you're going into corners, you can't be looking at the rider in front of you, especially if he messes up. If he does something wrong, you will follow him and you will do the same mistake. Happened the other week at the Peaks, where one of the guys went wide, he was in front of me, my vision lowered to him and I started to go wide until I corrected myself and looked back at the corner. Remember, you go where you look. So what you need to do is think of yourself like a helicopter pilot. What you need to do is, as you're coming up to a corner, and we got a left here, albeit a very slow left, but let's pretend it's a fast one. I am now looking at that 50-mile-an-hour sign, and I'm now looking at the corner. I'm not looking at Gareth weaving, although I'm seeing him in my peripheral. I'm not looking where Liam's line is, I'm now looking through him. They're all in my peripheral and I'm concentrating on the corner. And that is what you should be doing when you start to push on, you go through corners. It is really hard to do, but something you must master in group rides is stop worrying about the guys in front. You will see their brake lights, you will see them stop suddenly, your peripheral will pick that up. But you need to be concentrating on your corner. I want to be concentrating on the corner and looking through it, raising my vision, not having it low down like it will naturally be in a group ride. And of course the other thing is, boys and girls will be boys and girls when they're in a group. And if one of you starts pushing on, you're going to want to keep up with them. Ride your own ride. Everyone will say this on group riding, it is the most important thing, ride your own ride. But the other thing is, you should also not be too concerned about what the group is doing. If they're popping wheelies, if they're rev bombing, I know it's so hard not to do it, and it's fun to do it, but you just need to make your own judgment call. What type of rider do you want to be? Do you want to be the rider that's popping wheelies? If you do, cool, go do it. I myself have found myself doing things that when I've come home after a group ride, I've been like, nah, I'm not happy with myself, so take a check, you know. And that's something you've got to judge for yourself, but it's also something that will become quite apparent in group riding. So of course there's lots of other stuff you could cover about group riding, about leaving a man behind if the group gets separated, whose nav positions in the pack, all of that. This video isn't about that, it's just quick tips to get you up and running in a group. Your own group is going to come up with their own sets of rules. Our group now is probably over 20 strong with our lads, and it's a different ride depending on the group that's coming out. So depending on the riders that we've got will depend how we ride, and depend what system we're riding with, whether we've got somebody up front as nav, we know how they ride with regards to leaving somebody behind or letting people ride their own ride and catch up. Loads of really good videos, I suggest you watch them if you are going to ride in a group, because all the amount of knowledge you can get is worth having. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe would be most helpful, and come along with me on some more journeys. Have a look through the channel, look through the videos, and hopefully there's some videos on there that you found useful. Thanks again.